Well, hello everyone. Thank you so much for coming back and joining me for Scorpio. Oh my goodness. How can we put Scorpio in a nutshell? It almost seems impossible, doesn't it? Well, the good news is we're going to skim the surface a little bit and we're going to go into the world of Scorpio. Now, again, we're getting into the older sign of the zodiac. This is the time when winter begins. This is after, the fall, okay, after the leaves have come down, when it's cold, the leaves have all fallen off the trees, and the roots are growing deeper. And that is often the life of a Scorpio, that you often can't see on the outside all that's going on, but trust and believe they are growing deeper down into the soil. Now, Scorpio is a water sign, the second of our water signs. It represents the age from like uh 56, right in there. I don't think I mentioned Libra, but I will confirm with Libra. It's around 42 to 48. So now we have Scorpio around 48 to 56, the time of menopause. So for Scorpio women, this is an interesting point, that's why they always have that old soul. They're always these mature old soul women, because their soul is really of a woman who is going through the menopausal stage, that she has the wisdom of all of her years. She's more in control, okay, of her body. Now, yes, the Scorpio is ruled by the productive system, the ovaries and the female parts, male parts. So this is often, again, why they are so deeply internally emotional, especially with the moon changes, because that's the part of their body that gets activated. So they get the reputation for being extremely sexual. Well, I think it's more they're very sexually aware. They, from a very young age, have a wisdom that they were born with of sexuality and how that works. Now, they're not typically the sign that's going to go out and be superficial and have lots of sex. Wounded Scorpios can have a long list of relationships that they've had, but more it's them trying to desperately connect and have intimacy, because it is through sex that the Scorpio actually feels that connection with God, that elated moment when everything's working. And so, young Scorpios, say immature Scorpios, often, are led by that desire for intimacy. And because sex doesn't really shock them, they can use sex, but they typically really are faithful, loyal, and they want that one partner to completely engulf in. But like I said, some of them spend a lot of years looking for that. Okay, sorry, but changing that a little bit. The lighting's gotten a little dark. Now, Scorpio is ruled by Pluto and Mars. Okay, in ancient times, it was just ruled by Mars, but in, I believe, like 1929, Pluto was discovered and was associated with the sign of Scorpio. I really believe that to be true, because if we look at the planet Pluto, we see this very small, potent planet, and it hides. It comes up, it rises like the phoenix, and then it goes down. It actually circles around Neptune. So it's kind of like when Neptune is hiding, Pluto is hiding, and that's when the Scorpio is often hiding. It plummets down, this little small power packed planet. It also rules the darker side. So Pluto, is known for being the planet that's able to see into the dark world, hell, if you may. Scorpios often, from very young ages, will have nightmares and dreams, and very, very scary dreams. Whether they're tapping into, different dimensions, or it's a fear of their own. It's not uncommon for Scorpios to dream a lot or have very prophetic dreams, which can keep them on a certain edge of being scared or seeing the dark side. So many of us, we want to kind of be in denial. We don't want to look at the dark side. We don't want those things. But the Scorpio has no choice because they see into the dark side. And that's why when you meet a Scorpio, they can see right through you. They're immediately scanning you and looking to read your intentions. Okay, very important. Looking to read your intentions. As we get a little bit later into Pisces, we'll see that they are looking to read the best in you, almost having this blind spot, where coming now into Scorpio, there is no blind spot. And so when you get into a relationship with the Scorpio, it's really a matter of if that's something you like. Water signs do really well together, but if you don't like somebody digging in every nook and cranny of how you feel and the way you shifted your eye and all of those things, you might feel unnerved by that. So again, part of having these discussions about the signs is to learn to appreciate each sign. Now, I've had a lot of Moon and Scorpio relationships in my life. They seem to come into my life very like relationships that are like my gurus or my teachers. A lot of them will have a Moon in Scorpio. And I have to say, yes, it's intimidating, but I love it because I know they're going to not let me, they're going to read my bullshit. They're going to let me know, now that's not true. That's not how you really feel. And it's like, oh, you're right. Thank you for giving me permission to speak the truth. And they accept the truth. That's the thing. You don't ever want to lie to a Scorpio. They will hold that against you. They will always remember that. They'd rather hear the truth even if they don't like it. They will respect you and admire you more if you tell them the truth, even if it's something that they don't like. When you enter into a relationship with a Scorpio, you want to be prepared. This is going to be a very deep, intense, committed, all-encompassing platonic relationship with all of the trappings of obsession and jealousy and questioning and probing. But if you pass that test, and you truly are having that exchange, there's nothing more powerful than a relationship with somebody that has strong Scorpio in their chart, because if they give you all of themselves, if they tell you how they feel about things, now they're not going to tell you everything, and if they tell you, often it's weeks after they've had this epiphany. They're very guarded of their vulnerabilities, but if they tell you in their time and they share with you how they feel about things and they show vulnerability, you are very special. And you don't want to take that for granted. You want to really, really grasp onto that and understand that that's a privilege. Now, the hard side of Scorpio, obviously, when we look into the shadow side, is very controlling, because they have to control their world because they're so desperately fearful. And you say, well, what are they really fearful of? One of the biggest fears of a Scorpio is being rejected. If they have given themselves to you, like if you go out one night, you meet a Scorpio, and let's say, you do go out and you sleep with them, unless they say otherwise, they expect, that's like they've given themselves to you. And you've already made the commitment. It's not something you can go, oh, that was nice, but I'm not interested in anything too intense. And you reject them, that's going to be a real sting for them. And how they respond to that will depend on the relationship and how much they want that relationship. Sometimes, Mars in Aries is going to blast you, is going to be more upfront, is going to be more extroverted. If they do feel wounded or hold a grudge or have a sense of revenge, where Mars in Scorpio, because it goes down into the water, is going to be more patient, and it's going to hold that for many, many, many years. And there may just be, there just may be nothing you can do to resolve that. But if you are in a relationship with a Scorpio and you really want to make something right, maybe something's gone bad, and it's going to, because they have very high expectations, then honesty and giving of yourself and that truth and being honest and not trying to blame it, but apologizing or, communicating, because they really do want that intimacy. So if you are trying to keep things right in a relationship with the Scorpio, you have to be strong. You don't want to go in like too mousy, because they don't respect that either. But it's like, yeah, I do apologize, but this is how I felt, or this is, what's going on. You need to be direct and confident, but you have to realize you're in an intense relationship. They'll have expectations of you that you often don't know. And sometimes they won't tell you, because there's again, this kind of constant testing that goes on. Um, Scorpio, because it is ruled by that whole productive system, that whole area, if they do get sick, this is where they can have issues down there. They can have cancer, uterine cancer, or cancer of the ovaries, or even be more susceptible to STDs, sexually transmitted diseases, because they're very sensitive down there. And if their little chakra goes off and you're around a Scorpio and they're feeling a little vibey for you, I'm telling you right now, if they decide to put that intention on you and you're sitting next to one, you're going to have a wave of sexual feeling go over you. Like, I'm just being honest with you guys. So, they can be very mesmerizing. Okay. Extremely, almost paralyzing. Okay. Cause you kind of think of that Black Widow, they get you in their web, and then it's like, oh my gosh, I'm in, and you want to be in, because it's so overpowering. But I think people have to really understand, Scorpios are amazing, but this is the one sign that you need to know how they operate, because they are very black and white. And so, again, water signs will do well with other water signs. Pisces, Scorpio can do really well together. Scorpio, Virgo can do well together. But they are focused. They have ability for long focus. So here you have surgeons, doctors. You can have criminal law, detectives, because they can do heavy, heavy, heavy research, and they love to, stalk, because they don't need to be out there. They're taking all of their energy and drawing it in and using it behind the scenes. So, yeah. These are the people that, though, when you want to hear the truth, you want someone to really tell you the truth, go to a Scorpio. They love to dive into the psychological stuff going on. And they do want you to give that intimacy back through conversation and through connection. They're going to want to know, where are you? Where are you going? How come you took so long? They do have a suspicious nature. So sometimes this can really get them, in struggling in their relationships, because sometimes it can be so much demand that they not only put on themselves, but put on others. So, the more that trust is established, the more the Scorpio will relax. But if you're in a relationship with a Scorpio, you can do a lot of things to kind of prevent that feeling, that suspicious nature, by just communicating. Hey, I'm going here, I'm going there. Hey, what you doing? And just being already in connection with them. If you're reading a chart for a Scorpio and you're having a conversation, they're going to love it, because they love for people to go down into deep subjects. They love to have deep psychological subjects. But they're going to be guarded, and they're not just going to buy it. Like if you say, oh, this is how you are, they'll be like, no, that's not how I am, if they're not. So, you know, they're going to be harder to read because they're going to tell you the truth or they may not admit to it. But I think that one of my favorite readings to do is for Scorpios, and be prepared because a Scorpio will have had a lot of intense and often sometimes tragic situations in their life. They will be familiar with things like death, you know, losing people maybe when they were young, or going through tragic situations, or having somebody dominate them, abuse, those kind of things unfortunately travel around with Pluto. Um, Pluto is all about going to the depth of an issue, the worst case scenario, and then coming out and rising like the phoenix above it. So, you know, they are the gurus, they are the wise people that, but they're the kind that are going to be sitting out in a tree with just a few people, you know, gleaning from them. They like to have more one on one conversations. I mean, and when you're talking to one and you've got their attention, they are completely there. They're completely engulfed in you. So, wow, yeah. It's a powerful relationship. I have a lot of Scorpios in my family, a lot of Scorpios in my life. I have Scorpio in the 8th house, so that's always drawn in a lot of Scorpios. And, you know, if you get on the bad side of one, that can be a problem too. But, you know, you just have to realize that in all of these relationships that we have, um, we just have to be true to who we are. You know, the negative side of Scorpio, although they really do love authentic people and honest people, if they are a very jealous Scorpio, they will recognize authentic people and sometimes even want to take them down or put them down, or they just feel intimidated by them because they know they're the real deal. So if you have a Scorpio really kind of obsessed with you, you're probably pretty special because they only really key in on people that have something really special. So on the good side of that, this is where you have your really deep, authentic friendships and lifelong partners. You know, on the shadow side of it, this is where you can have the person you will never forget. So, all right, you guys. Well, just a few things. Remember, because uh, I'm posting these on through my YouTube, but it's set on private, um, and then uploaded to this library. So you guys can comment below and we can have conversations. Any questions you have will help me in my future videos. I want to use those and answer questions. So, all right, you guys, I hope this was helpful. We'll be back for Sagittarius.